Words of a Fool is one of those songs that really nobody ever heard. It was on my second solo album, which didn't go out for a number of reasons. Mainly that we were supposed to make a new album with the group. So that didn't go out. That song never got heard. And ever since then, I've always felt that that's one of the best songs that I've ever been able to write. Probably around mid-80s. Always did it, always sang it a sound check because I love the song. And everyone would say, well, where'd that come from? Can you get that record? And I thought, no, we never really made the record. Too Much Heaven, we were doing this crazy film called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And we were staying in a house that we rented in Beverly Hills for the duration of the shooting of the movie. And we had a weekend where there was nothing going on at all. And we came up with, I don't know how or why we did, but we came up with 3 songs in that afternoon. One was Tragedy. Another was Too Much Heaven. And there's one more that I can't remember. But I know it was a hit. So thank goodness for that. But Too Much Heaven was one of those songs. And Alison chose that. And it was a brilliant choice. But she is so meticulous. She actually did the song with me. And then another day when I wasn't in the studio, she wanted to come in and do her parts again to her own satisfaction. And I admire that about any artist. You know, no matter what's going on, make sure what you do is something you love. And that's what she was doing. That kind of artist. We had just come back together, not because we wanted to, because we were still not getting on very well. And we went into the studio just to get into the studio and find that center musically, as opposed to our own personal differences. You know, and on that afternoon, Lonely Days came to life that afternoon. And I think Lonely Days was really it was personal. I think it was like a lot of our songs really has something in every song we write that means something to us personally. And I think Lonely Days sort of put the cap on that. We've been nearly 2 years apart, and I think that was the emotion that went into the song. Of course we were missing each other. We just didn't know we were missing each other, you know. We were all trying to get on with our lives. There was no worse feeling than not being together making music. But we were at a stage in our lives where we were still teenagers. We didn't know anything about the record industry. And when you arrive in London in the middle of the Beatles' reign, and you're signed to NEMS, which is the Beatles company, and you're in the presence of Brian Epstein or Robert Stigwood and people like that, Eric Clapton, and it was simply an overwhelming experience for 3 kids, and we were 3 kids, so we didn't know about anything. It all had to come from experience as time went on. So some of the songs as we went on got better and better. Some got worse, but a lot got better. We improved and we grew. And Lonely Days, I think that's the thought. That's the thought. We had to fight for 2 years, but then we had to find ourselves again. I was alone in Adams Row. I was going through a divorce, and I was staying at Robert Stigwood's place in Adams Row, and there was no one in the house, and I had the bedroom at the very top. It was like a 3-story townhouse, and I was just sitting and playing my guitar and messing about, and words came without any real purpose. It's just something that came from deep down. But it was written at IBC Studios in Portland Place in London, and we had no harmonies on the song, and Robert Stigwood made us come back in the studio at midnight and put the harmonies on the choruses. But you wouldn't have had harmonies on that song at all if it hadn't been for Robert.